This is update for August 3 and 4, day 162 of the war, end of the date update. So essentially it's update for August 4. I'm back trying to sort of catch up, and we'll be slowly returning to normal approach over next several days. So let's just start with let's look at the military situation, because that's obviously the most important. Well, I just want to mention one thing about the economic situation. So Ukrainian president also admitted that Ukraine, he literally said verbatim that Ukrainian economy is in coma, which we've been saying all the time previously, and the aid in the amount of 8 billion, I believe, euros has been blocked. Uh, Not aid, I think it's more like a loan from the European Union to Ukraine. That was promised to Ukraine, and it should have arrived sometime in July. That has been blocked by Germany. There are so the Ukrainian president was gonna kind of you know trying to address that situation. Obviously, that's extremely painful for Ukrainian government. Nevertheless, we have to sort of um, give the dues to Ukrainian government in terms of its ability to destroy Ukrainian economy, which is much stronger than the Russian invasion at this moment. With all of they do, we'll do some recap on everything that's being done by this essentially incompetent government that's running this country, and it's running it economically into the total disaster and ground. Nevertheless, let's just switch at this point to the military update. In terms of HIMARS attacks, there was only one attack aimed at Donetsk Bridge over this time. We haven't heard of any other attacks that's targeting any other bridges or trying to attack ferry or anything else. So there was attack on third, and unfortunately there's no any kind of evidence or information how successful it was. We assume it was successful because HIMARS rockets are super precise. Russian troops don't have essentially effective defense against those attacks. So more or less, I probably hit Antonievsky Bridge again. This is just a reminder, main bridge in Kherson that connects Kherson bridgehead to the remainder of the Kherson region. So that's a key one. That's not the only one. As just a reminder, there is also kind of like road slash bridge over the dam in Novakhovka. So that's another major kind of connection point. And then there's also railroad bridge that's close, about 5 or 6 kilometers away from Antonievsky Bridge. Right, so that was attacked in the past as well. It didn't get that as much damage. May have been repaired by now. It's unclear situation. But what we want to say is just the fight against Russia's ability to supply troops on the Kherson bridgehead is continuing. It's lacks determination, in our opinion, and focus, because we see this kind of like sporadic attacks. There is clearly not enough focus. Nevertheless, it's been done somehow. Uh, Now let's actually move and start looking at, let's do walk through in a clockwise fashion, starting from the very north. So the exchange of fire against along the border continues. It's somewhat less intense. Nevertheless, that's nothing major is going on there. Now let's jump to Kherson area. Oh, sorry, to Kharkiv area. So situation here is stable, no major changes. So everything's more or less the same. Now let's move to Izyum bridgehead, and actually there is a little bit of sort of new development there that encompasses not only Izyum bridgehead, but we would like to focus you on this area near Balakliya. This is here, so you can see where we're pointing. So now there is a Russian attack from that area, and let's just first jump to Izyum bridgehead. Two areas of typical Russian attacks is towards this Krasnopilya Dolina and Bogorodichne. So essentially, they would like to kind of ram through towards Slavyansk. No sort of no success here. But as we discussed, major Russian troops are not here, so this might be just distraction maneuver by Russian command, and that's our base case assumption here. This is actually a high-level overview. This is Izyum bridgehead here. This is Balakliya, which is controlled by Russian troops, and so attack is towards this village Husarivka, and it's unclear if Ukrainian troops are able to sort of stand the ground there. So it remains to be seen. The fight is going on for at least a couple days at this point. We'll find out probably next day or two the outcome of this fight. It's this is if this sort of is if this is major attack, which we're not sure at this point. It's unclear about this. This is really new development, and if it's successful, it obviously can make a huge damage to Ukrainian defenses, including literally collapse of all of this defensive position against the bridgehead. So this needs to be watched carefully. We'll continue to provide updates on this new development here. Let's now move to North Donbass front line. Let's see what's going on here. So northern section is kind of quiet, as we mentioned before. We did not expect that Russian command will continue attacking in this area. They sort of refocused. They pushing here like sort of straight east of Bakhmut, and Soledar is another area, another town that they're trying to capture. So essentially, the fighting is going on at this point along this road that goes from Bakhmut to Lysychansk, and we discussed this many times that this road poses very good defensive position because it has embankment and provides good coverage against artillery fire. So essentially at this point Ukrainian troops are kind of pressed against this road. In some areas, like for example Berestove, it looks like Russian troops managed to kind of just get over the road, but nevertheless they're not able to exploit that advance successfully here. So the situation here is more or less stalled. Nevertheless, you can see that after advances on the first and second, Russian troops did quite a bit of advances on the third and fourth, and we want to like to point that at this point the fighting is starting to go like in this town Bakhmut. So the fighting is somewhere on outskirts of this town. So essentially, Russian troops started storming this town Bakhmut. So now let's actually look a little bit more. This is like outskirts of the town here of this Bakhmut. So as you can see, Russian troops managed to sort of push Ukrainian quite a bit more, gain some more ground. Then there are focused attacks in this kind of like southern section. So far they were not as successful. Ukrainian troops managed to sort of stand the ground. Nevertheless, as you can see, there is a huge pressure in all of this like sort of southern section of North Donbass front line, and it does look that this Bakhmut situation is definitely very dangerous and threatening for Ukrainian defenses there. Now let's move south. Let's see what's going on straight west of Donetsk. Situation here is also dangerous. Russian troops did not manage to sort of make as much advances over this couple days. Nevertheless, so the attacks here from the kind of like northeast towards Avdiivka is so far not very successful. Attack from sort of southeast also not very successful. Where the Russian troops do have success is in capturing this village Pisky. So let's look what's going on there. So at this point, Russian troops controlling more or less most of the Pisky Ukrainian this village, and then Ukrainian troops kind of on outskirts of this village. And we discussed on the second, we were mentioning that Ukrainian troops kind of like were withdrawing towards Vodyane and Pervomaiske. So what happened in the last moment, Ukrainian troops here got like new reserves to sort of stabilize the front line. That did stabilize the front line, so there was it was kind of like turning into disorderly retreat. So Ukrainian troops managed to stabilize there, and that's why they're still holding on the the outskirts of this village Pisky. Nevertheless, it's basically living on the borrowed time. This essentially Ukrainian command through more troops to kind of get burned by Russian artillery, and eventually this they will sort of eat the whole in this, and the Russian troops will start exploiting and moving towards Vodyane and Peromaiske, because the main goal right now is probably going to be Vodyane, because the next stop is going to be Severna here, and that will create sort of kind of like a semi pocket around Avdiivka, and that will create sort of probably unbearable situation for Ukrainian troops and command, and they will probably pull out of Avdiivka. So that's kind of like a big sort of plan by Russian command at this point. So as you can see, they so this is like on a big scale map. So as you can see, they will attack towards like northwest, right? So they're gonna create kind of like salient, Avdiivka salient, and the main supply road is kind of goes here. So once they advance again to the like areas probably even far away as Erlivka, this creates very difficult supply situation for Ukrainian troops, and they will be forced to withdraw from here. Uh, so that's, and in general, the whole impression over past, let's say, 5-6 days is that Ukrainian front line is really, defenses are really seriously cracking, not only here, straight west of Donetsk, but also, as you can see, near Bakhmut. So yeah, we're not gonna say that there is potential sort of like of avalanche breakdown in Ukrainian defenses, but it's very clear that Ukrainian army is less able to stand the ground than it used to be, even though it got more artillery and more self-propelled howitzers, tools that they need. Apparently, in our opinion, is that it's not able to use effectively those tools, and part of it is the quality of Ukrainian command. We mentioned this many times. We don't think that they capable of successfully doing their job, and I think this is sort of manifestation of that situation. So okay, we'll continue providing updates, but situation here is very concerning for Ukrainian side for sure. Now let's move to Zaporizhia front line. Things here are stable. There's no essential changes, no like sort of no large attacks or anything going on here. Now let's jump to Kherson bridgehead, which we discussed a little bit. So again, this is Antonivsky bridge. That's the main bridge here. That sort of supplies Russian troops everywhere. Then there is also road / bridge over this dam in Novokakhovka. Those are two main ones. So at this point, we believe the Antonivsky bridge is essentially pretty much done and probably barely repairable. So nevertheless, this road / bridge remains over the dam, remains in Novokakhovka. If you remember, Russian troops did repair it. It's not quality repair. It's not able to sort of last for long, but they're not even thinking in sort of long term. They just need to survive. So for now, it functions. They also have ferries, and pontoon bridges. So somehow they still kind of able to supply. There is clearly need for more focus by Ukrainian side if there is a plan to effectively cut off Russian supplies and kind of create more problems for the Russian defensive position here. So far, in our opinion, this not being done sort of well enough to create opportunities down the road. So Russian troops are still managing to kind of like survive. It's on a call it on a diet, but nevertheless, they can, it's not sort of starvation diet. It's kind of like, okay, it's just a little bit uncomfortable, but not sort of uncomfortable enough in our opinion. So again, then Russian troops were trying to destroy this tiny bridgehead that Ukrainian forces control without much success. So that's so they, as we discussed, they're trying to eliminate any potential threats here. That's it for the day. Thanks for watching, and then tomorrow and then next following days we'll try to kind of like add sort of more information and kind of continue some of the things that we've been doing in terms of we still remember about like few initial days of the war, specifically in the south. We didn't finish that, and we still want to finish and provide information on their energy situation, specifically how it works in Europe and why there are problems and how this whole interrelated to situation in Ukraine. Again, thanks for your patience and thanks for watching. And till tomorrow, bye bye.